Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Wolves Report. I'm Ryan Lester, and thank you for joining us for episode 166. On tonight's show, we'll give you our player and match analysis of Wolves' 1-1 draw with Fulham. Take you back to last week's fans forum, get some opinion on that. Also go into more detail with our fans' 150 shirt launch on Saturday. Take some of your questions and look ahead to the final game of the season against Burnley. Tonight, I'm joined by two men who were at Molineux in very different formats last night. One man rediscovered his pace and the other man was managing the team late in the game. You can work out who was which. You might be surprised, who knows. But anyway, gentlemen, Nocky, Nui, good evening. Thank you for having us. Looks like Nocky's, that sprinting's caught up with Nocky with that little comment. But straight to football before we talk about more fun things than that. Your take, Nocky, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Fulham 1.
I'd say it was an improvement on Brighton, but that's a relatively low bar that we made it 10 minutes without conceding a goal. I don't know. It was better. I think it was definitely better. We looked a little bit more solid, a little bit more organised. I think a better performance doesn't equal a good performance, but when we've been in the kind of run of form that we've been in and the way we've been playing, it's a point against a mid-table side that maybe we don't get a few weeks ago. So there was things you could probably grab onto. I don't want to be too negative, but I felt tactically we were a little bit strange in the way that we played. We just seemed to be trying to lump the ball forward for Armstrong to try and get on the end of it, or Mane, and it wasn't a tactic that was ever going to really work, especially when you've got Calvin Bassey, who's big, strong, and very, very physical. So I don't think it was a game we particularly looked like winning, but at the same time, I don't think we look like losing it either. So a draw's probably about right. It's certainly an improvement on Brighton. It's a point, isn't it? I think that's what you can probably take from the game. And then we scored a really good goal as well, which was nice to see. But other than that, it wasn't the most exciting affair. I don't think Fulham were particularly good quality. As a whole, I don't think the Premier League's been very good this year. I think it's probably the weakest Premier League that we've ever been in, which makes our position, in my opinion, even more scandalous. But it's a point. We haven't lost the last game, and now we've put ourselves in a position where we've got a £3 million shootout in the last game of the season. So it gives you something to keep moving towards, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it's for me. I don't know if I just feel like it's another wasted opportunity. I thought we're playing against a team who technically can't do anything. It's a dead rubber. I thought when Wolves scored, I thought Fulham were possibly there for the taking because, when they were on the ball in that final third, they were neat and tidy and it looked nice. But when we went at them in the first half, they looked like they were shooting opportunities. I just thought we tucked off, and I thought again, in this last few months, it's a wasting opportunity for Wolves to go and win a game.
It just feels like another dead rubber, like most of the games this season have felt, to be honest. Just doesn't feel like we've taken our opportunities at any point. And like you said, I think that they were potentially there for the taking. There's nothing in it really for either side. For us, arguably there's more because we don't want to finish bottom. Not that it's going to make too much of a difference, but yeah, I think there's just a lack of want or trying from a lot of those players that are out there at the moment, and it already feels like this season has been dragging on for too long, and I cannot wait for it all to be over now, to be completely honest.
That's a question later on, actually.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Sorry for it.
That's okay. Yeah, it does feel like that now, Nocky, doesn't it? It is a bit of a dead one, but I can't help but being frustrated now. Edward's comments after the game about playing well, I didn't really see that. It wasn't hard to improve, was it, on last week? But it just felt like it was all right.
Yeah. He's gonna. I know we get frustrated by what Edward says, but he's going to come out and defend players a little bit, especially when we've got a point out of the game. I didn't think it was a particularly good performance, but we have been the whipping boys this season, so any point we pick up does feel like a big point, especially when you look at, that was only our 19th point of the season. So there are positives we can take from the game, but I'm kind of with Nui. I just want the season over now. It feels like death by 1,000 cuts, and there's you know most of that squad's not going to be there, and you could tell by some of the performances that most of them didn't want to be there. They're kind of just going through the motions, and that's a bit of a frustration. I think when the most popular player on the pitch doesn't play for your team, you've got a real problem. But it's a marker of kind of what we've done to ourselves over the last few transfer windows. There's no heroes left. We've got rid of all of them. So we're celebrating a man who left a couple of years ago, and that was the most excited the ground was when Jimenez was warming up and when he came on the pitch. So it's a sad indictment of the damage that's been done to ourselves, and we're limping out of the league. I know we got a point, but we're limping out of the league. We've not got a great deal to show for our efforts. So let's just get the season over with, and I hope we can go to Burnley and put on a performance and just give the fans something to cling on to going into next year.
And an extra £3 million in the kitty for next season wouldn't hurt either. There was a couple of highlights. Well, okay, there was maybe one other than Raul, and that was the goal. And we haven't had much excitement, but this was a really good finish. And what really stood out for me was the goal. There was very little backlift, but the way he moved his feet quickly and adjusted and drilled that ball, he's done that a few times this season. He obviously bent the one in at Everton. He beat the one at the near post against West Ham at home, I think he did. If that's correct, the West Ham at home, and then and he scored that one. There's a real natural ability to ping a ball. So credit where it's due. That's a really good goal. That's a Premier League goal.
Oh yeah, 100%. And we've kind of said that there's definitely a player there, and we need to kind of guard it, and we need to kind of be respectful of when he doesn't necessarily have those moments, which he hasn't necessarily had. Since he kind of burst onto the scene, he hasn't always had those kind of show off moments, but it was a class finish. To be able to do that, and actually the play leading up to that as well was actually really good. One of the very few highlights of the game, but yeah, you have to give it to him. Great finish, and if it is to be true what Rob's saying around him sticking around and and being there next season, then it's definitely going to be interesting to see where we go.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I believe
No.
Wolves are going to be able to turn down 30+ million. Yeah, he's been quiet the last month, but we ran him into the ground. But when you've got moments like that and you're doing that at 18 and you've got such an ability to ping it from there, teams are going to want that. And I think someone will come in for 20, and I think they'll probably meet around the £30 million mark. I just don't see Wolves getting relegated, having the strength to hold on. But let's have a quick run through the team. It's oddly a lot to get excited about recently, but let's have a look through it. Let's take the comments off. Got to say, Nocky, Jose Sarr, good save earlier on. I think there's a one-on-one he came out. He's done okay, and I don't mind Jose Sarr, and I'm kind of pleased as well that he's going to the World Cup as well, because you want any of your players doing that. He won't be a Wolves player at the end of the season, but I'm chuffed that he's going to the World Cup.
Yeah, he's okay, and I won't be too sad to see him go, but he's done a decent job for us. Was okay against Fulham. Was caught out probably for Zanderberg's header that ended up over the crossbar somehow. I have no idea how that happened. And he made a good save from Iwobi. So he was quite important for us, I suppose, in the game. Not tested hugely, I'd say. They created a few chances, but they were very lumbering and laboured themselves. But they did have really good movement up front. I did like the way they moved the ball around, and they got behind us very, very easily. Just their final ball probably let them down, so they didn't test Sarr as much as they'd like to. But I suppose he did everything that he needed to do, and obviously you can't blame a goalkeeper if he concedes from a penalty.
Yeah, moving on to the back 4-5. I don't really know what shape it was, to be honest. It says 4 there. I'm not sure that's the case or not. I couldn't really tell, because if there was a significant difference, I'm not really sure it was, Nui. But what I did notice was the tactical mastermind of getting our best header of the ball to take the long throw. So he kind of needed to get on the end of his own throwing, but we've just discovered now that Krejci can throw the ball a long way, and it's taken half the season for Yerson Mosquera to throw the ball straight and not straight up in the air. But your take on the back 4 or 5, however you see it, Nui?
Yeah, they've just kind of passed again without much fanfare, to be completely honest with you. Krejci out there as the kind of standout again for me. I think it was decent to see Molowolf back in, but again, kind of didn't necessarily see an awful lot from him in the game. And then I think Mosquera just genuine shithouse as always, shithouse behaviour from him. It's kind of just it's getting a little bit. It can be a bit tedious at times now, I think. But do you know what? I think I'm looking at it as well with that kind of view of just like get it over with, just get this season done. There just doesn't seem to me to be anything about any of the players that I really want to back right now. And so I'm finding it really, really difficult to even find the smallest positives in a lot of the players, because it just feels like they don't necessarily want to be there. They don't necessarily want to be getting stuck in. And, like there's part of me that can't really blame the ones that are, looking to go to the World Cup. They don't really get injured in what ultimately is a dead rubber. But I think for the other players that are there, just, give us something. But there's nothing there. There's nothing. I'm sorry, everyone. There's nothing for me to get excited about there.
Yeah. Moving on to the midfield 3, 4, or 5. Is there anything you can find in there, Nocky? I mean, Nocky, I've got to say that the highlight of the day was Matheus Mane, but somehow he's managed to chop up an opponent in half and give a penalty away as well. But you know what? We've scored a goal from outside the box. It's put his value up. He'll probably get sold on in the summer. That's a highlight. But he's a bit naive with the tackle. If you're going to fly in the box, you've got to be 100%. But yeah, your take on the midfield, whoever you saw it lining up.
Yeah, I mean, Mane was the shining light. Good effort with his left foot that the keeper did well to save. Really good finish with his right for the goal. I'm not going to be too critical with the penalty, because when you've got young players in, this is how they develop. They make mistakes, they get things wrong, and it was just rash, wasn't it? He didn't need to throw a foot up the way he did. He didn't really know what was around him, but young players will do that. I thought Gomez and Andre were okay, but similar to the rest of the season, they'll provide you a little bit of a shield, but they don't offer you anything at all going forward, do they? Rodrigo was lively. He works his socks off, doesn't he? I don't think he's a Premier League player. I think he could be a Championship player. But there's no questioning his application or his effort, because he never stops running for you. And I thought Hwang really. I don't think it was one of his worst performances, but he wasn't hugely influential in the game. So similar to Nui, I mean, I look across the whole team and I don't really care if none of those players are there next season. I'd like to keep Armstrong. If we could keep Mane, great. But I'm not overly fussed if we've got an entire new 10 or 11 next season, because I just don't feel any kind of connection with these players. And it's quite sad, really, when we follow them the way we do and you've got no link to them.
Yeah, and it's telling what I think one of you guys said earlier on as well, that the biggest song was from a player that had left like 3 or 4 years ago. But I mean, I tweeted after the game, and I think this sums it up well, really. Well, I would say that because I tweeted it, didn't I? But Wolves created most of their stuff, Nui, from endeavour and pressing and trying. When Fulham created stuff, it was through football. And the difference in tactical nous and talent in the final third. Granted, Fulham didn't take us apart, but when they were deep into the middle third and the little switches and the one touches, we haven't played football like that all season. Ours has been through endeavour. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think like the only time that it felt like we were actually playing decent football was the goal. Like I think that was the probably only time that we actually saw some kind of decent passing, decent pressing, actually moving into space. The rest of it was just letting the time go by. So yeah, I think it's a fair assumption. He's got his work cut out, hasn't he, to kind of figure out where we go, who's going to still be here, and what happens from there. Interestingly, I thought Armstrong had quite a quiet game as well. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point on Armstrong, and I kind of feel sorry for him, because for me, he's very much a fox in the box. I know he works the channels, but he's what we saw when he scored that goal at Brentford. The guy's a finisher. He can get in the box. He's 20 goals plus in the Championship. I don't want him running wide and running the channels. I want him playing off the shoulder. And again, I know that Tolu's not been the best, but I'm not sure the system was really considered, because Armstrong, for me, plays better in a pair. Mane should play as a 10. So if you sort of manage to put Hwang, who's better down the middle, with Armstrong, you're playing two players then in the best position, because Armstrong's got then someone to play with and link. And Mane's in the 10 and he can feed them both. I just don't know why that didn't happen. It didn't make any sense. And I just feel at the moment, Nocky, that Adam Armstrong's a guy at the moment we've just whipped into the ground like Kevin Doyle, and you're going to turn somebody just into a workhorse and not a goal scorer.
Yeah, he's a finisher, isn't he? And we don't give him the opportunities to finish. I mean, there was one lovely move, I think it was in the second half, where he got himself a yard, dinked the keeper and hit the post. That's what he can do for you, but we just haven't been able to get him the ball. And I do think a lot of that comes down to Gomez and Andre, as good as they are as midfielders, and I think they are two very good midfielders. They kind of stifle you going forward because neither of them are going to really burst through and break the lines. Mane, he can link it up, but he's got that youthful exuberance where he kind of sees the net and that's what he wants to do. He's not very often going to pick that pass out. And Rodders will fire the ball across the face of goal as quick as he can, but we haven't got the height for Armstrong to get into it. So I don't think we play to his strengths at all. I think next season, if we could get a big lad up with him who's effective as opposed to a Tolu, a clever footballer, I think you'd be in a position to really see the best of Armstrong, because you know he's going to score your goals in the Championship. And if Wolves are a team that we hope they're going to be, he's going to get a lot more opportunities, and there should be the kind of opportunities that he feeds on. So those instant snapshots in the box, the little runs in behind, the bending runs behind the centre half, those are the kind of things he can do for us next season. But he came in and he was eyes wide open when he came in. We weren't creating chances, were we? So we were never going to bring in Adam Armstrong and start banging in 2 goals a game, which wasn't going to happen. But I think he's a player who could be effective for us next season if we play to his strengths.
This is episode 166 of the Wolves Report with Old Gold Packs. Nui, Monday night, Molyneux manager Nocky and myself, Ryan Lester. Other than the fantastic Mane goal, there was an emotional moment on Saturday afternoon when Raul came back. It may be the last time he plays at Molyneux, or it may be a reintroduction, but this is a special moment I caught from my seat and I wanted to share on the show. Now, I don't know about you boys. I'd love to be singing that next season. Nui, can it happen?
I think it can. It can. But
Oh,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it will. I think there's all a part of us that are a little bit sentimental, and I think that the difference from the players that we've got now to the players that we had back then, when Raul was at his best and all of that, was we had a connection with the players. Not only were they very, very good and they were playing in exactly the way that we wanted them to be doing, and they were getting results, and we had a really good connection with the team. We felt like we were part of it. I think that was the big thing. And Raul was such a huge, huge part of that. And there's not many players that, as a 40-year-old bloke that I get, massively connected to anymore. But Raul, Neves, Jota, and all of those, Moutinho, were real players that I had a huge connection with. And I think it's the sentimental side of things that would love to see Raul come back. Would I take him back in a heartbeat? Like, do I think that he could absolutely rip the Championship apart? Yeah, but I think there's a lot to be done, for a lot more than just kind of the sentimental reasons to kind of get him back. But yeah, bring him back so that we can sing that and actually have some songs in the stand. But apart from that, actually someone that's going to give their all for a club that he still clearly has a lot of affection for. And just on that note as well, actually, Yulan Lopetegui will never ever have my forgiveness for not playing him.
How did he not? Just bring him on, all right. And well, you could possibly say the same. That you could say that about Rob Edwards if that's Matt Doherty's last opportunity to have a home game. Because if that is Matt Doherty's last opportunity, I just think, Doc's been playing with injury all season. Now, whether he was fit enough to be on the bench or not, we don't know. But I know he's been struggling. They've talked about it. That's a guy that's given nearly all of his career to Wolves. So if it was the case that he could have made the bench just to put the kit on and come and say goodbye, if he's not being extended, I mean, I've got to put Robo-Woods in the Lopetegui book then, because in the long run, yes, Raul probably had a bigger impact. But in terms of winning League One, Championship, that incredible few seasons when he was a dream team master on the points for goals and assists and wing back, Doc was fantastic. At his peak, he was absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, if he's not been given a chance to say goodbye, I think that would absolutely stink. But, Noki, onto a positive with Raul. I mean, there was Gully from Musings put an interesting tweet out. I think he spent a lot of his career, maybe at the time in Spain. Was he in Spain, sorry? Or was it in Portugal? Either way, one of those leagues he was in. He spent a lot of time as a sub. So, in terms of his age, yeah, he probably hasn't quite got the miles on the clock of a typical 34 or 35-year-old. For me, I mean, he scored 9 Premier League goals this season from being a bit part player. Yeah, he's not going to play 46 games, but imagine giving him the service next season, having that kind of lift and the boost that will give to the fan base going into the summer. For me, if it can happen, it's romantic, but I also think it's practical as well.
It's such an easy win if they could get that one over the line. And
well, that's blown it.
It's such an easy win. I mean, it gets Nathan instantly in the good books because it gives you a feeling that he understands the fan base and he understands the club. And he's not going to be the Raul Jimenez that we had in them first 3-4 seasons. He's not going to be that player, but he's still got the football brain. He's still got the ability. He can affect games and he'll bring the fans a level of belief back. And not only that, what a signal of intent that is to the rest of the league. If Wolves were to get Raul Jimenez, and there's talk of Kieran Trippier as well, if they're your first 2 signings, that's a massive statement of intent.
2 incredible free transfers as well.
It'd be unbelievable. I mean, there's a lot of work to do on Trippier because there'll be a lot of interest in him, especially from America and places like that. But it's not beyond the realms that we could get them both. I just think Jimenez is... He loves the club. I mean, there was pictures of him, of his kids on the pitch. He still plays for Fulham, but his kids are in Wolves shirts. And can you imagine the legacy he leaves if he comes back for 1 season, gets us promoted, then rides off into the sunset? I mean, it's hero status for him. And I feel like he's got unfinished business because he wasn't the same player after his injury. I think given the opportunity, if the money's right and it's possible for us to do it, I do think he'd be really interested in coming back. And I think the noise about him coming back actually came from Raul himself.
Yeah.
So he's got an interest in it. He knows he's loved here. He could go off and get loads more money, but he's not exactly broke, is he? So if you've got a chance to go back somewhere where you're loved and you're adored and your family are loved, it can turn your head, that can. So I think there's a possibility it could happen, but obviously it's got to be right for everybody. We can't be paying him 100 grand in the Championship and blowing our budget on it, but we can afford to pay a little bit more on him because we ain't not going to pay a transfer fee. So there's definitely a deal there that can be done, but I'd absolutely take him. I think him playing alongside Armstrong, he will bring the best out of Armstrong, and then you get somebody else in, another striker. You can use Raul when you need him. Yeah, it's a no lose as far as I'm concerned.
Great comment here from Chezo May. The 12th man will be back with that signing. Absolutely. But I mean, we saw it's the best song we've had at Molineux, and I know Nui and the guys do a fantastic job at Old Gold Black to try and help with the atmosphere, but sometimes you need a hero as well, and that returning just feels like a no-brainer. I'm not going to talk about other people returning because they're questions at the end of the show, but there are some obvious questions about some other switches, maybe a little bit higher at the club, but there's some interesting questions. We'll bring them in a little bit later on. But yeah, for me, it's a no-brainer. If he wants to come, you can pay him the maximum top wage we can afford and you offer him a promotion bonus. If Wolves get promoted, we'll make up your wage using this because that's an absolute no-brainer then. It's done. And as you say, into the sunset, promoted. I just think it's a no. He's so respected. It's an atmosphere lifter. But what, as you guys said, what a signal of intention for the summer. Tick, July the 1st, Jimenez signs for Wolves. Bang. Everyone's got their attention then. Season tickets, we're actually taking it seriously. Wolverhampton Wanderers, this is a no-brainer. If he wants to come, let's get him back. Let's get him back. This is episode 166 of the Wolves Report with Old Gold Packs Nui, Monday night Molineux manager Noki, and myself, Ryan Lester. I quite like saying that. I'm not going to say it very often. just over a week ago now, there was a fans forum at Molineux. It was quite an interesting forum. Credit to BBC WM's Daz Hale, who hosted. There was Nathan Shee, as well as Rob Edwards and Matt Jackson, our director of football. Nocky, your take on the forum? It is before 9 o'clock, so please mind the juniors listening.
I think first and foremost, fair play to the club for putting it on, because it would have been much easier to do it at the end of the season, and it would have been much easier to do it for on the back of a few wins. So to go in and do it in the circumstances we're in, I think they deserve a bit of credit for that. I thought Nathan Shee came out of it in particular really well. There was some humour from him. He seemed switched on to the needs. He didn't rule anything out, things like the liquidator. So I thought he came across really well, and you know, there was some good statements from him, I think. Rob Edwards, he's probably on a little bit of a hiding to nothing, really, wasn't he? Because we hear him every week. So with Nathan, it's new, it's exciting, it's interesting. To a point, I suppose, Matt Jackson's the same. But we're always going to get the same sort of message from Rob. I think the thing I pick up on the most is it was very balanced. I think people did a really good job in asking the questions. There was no going in there and just slagging people off. It was balanced what everybody was asking them. But I think one of the things that really sparked with me was when there was a mention around the players not caring and not putting the effort in and not trying. And I think it was Matt Jackson who bit back a little bit of that, and he took a little bit of a volley from the fans, because that's the thing that we've identified as supporters, that we don't believe the players are trying. So I think overall it was good. I thought it was a good honest representation of a balanced forum, I think, and everyone came out of it a little bit better than they went into it, I think, and the fans got some answers that they were looking for. So yeah, fair play to the club for doing it. Daz Hale in particular running it was excellent. He asked some difficult questions himself, which I'm sure we wanted to hear. We wanted those answers, and I think Nathan in particular gave the right answers. But as we said before, it means absolutely nothing if we don't do the right things in the summer. But with that happening and the noises that we've heard after the Fulham game, maybe they've got the message.
Absolutely, yeah. Credit to Daz, obviously very of the podcast. And I think Nocky knew we had a little chat with him earlier on as well, talking about the new shirt, which we'll talk after shortly. Nui, as Nocky said, credit to the club. I mean, this is something that sort of we secured in our meeting in January, and we're delighted it's gone forward, and hopefully there'll be more in the future as well. It couldn't have come at a worse time. I mean, there was lots of people suggesting it would, but it takes some character, and as much as they get wrong, for those guys to sit there, and deservedly some of them get hammered. It's harder to hammer Nathan because he's brand new to it, but the other two probably deserve a little bit more stick. But yeah, credit to them. But your take on the evening itself?
Yeah, I think, you know, having listened to it, and, you know, I think first of all, I think it's absolutely brilliant by the club to, first of all, have listened to, you know, one of the suggestions that we had in our meeting with them to actually push forward and do this, and then actually deliver on it is good at a time when, you know, they knew that they were going to be getting absolute pelters from the fan base. So fair play to them for doing that, and we have to give that to them. It was interesting at a couple of points that obviously Matt Jackson made that one point about, you know, it's not for a lack of trying. Went down like a wet fart. It wasn't great at all, and it kind of felt like he was being a little bit provocative, like trying to get something back from the fans, and I'm not sure he went about it in the right way. And I'm still not sold on Matt Jackson. Obviously met him in person at the Fan Alliance meeting, and he talks a good talk. I'll give him that, but I'm still not completely sold on him. Rob, it was always going to be difficult. You know, he was going to take some absolute pelters, and the one where that fan brought up his win rate and started going through some of the stats. You know, fair play. Like, I'm sure he's very aware of them anyway, but to actually have other fans who potentially don't pay that much attention to things like win rates and all of that, it was awkward and difficult to hear, but actually needed to be said. So it can't have been nice for Rob to hear that. Out of all three of them, I think Nathan definitely came out the best. There's still a lot to be said, you know, on whether he's actually going to deliver on some of these actions. But, you know, a couple of key points from the meeting that we had with him, he has delivered on, with one being ticket pricing, and the second being the actual fan forum coming out of it. And there is potentially still things to come. He didn't necessarily rule out the liquidator, potentially coming back. That was part of the thing that was in the forum as well. So there's still a lot to kind of come back from it. But it's, as we've said from the very, very start when we've sat down with them, your words are absolutely fine, and we can listen to them all day long. But until we start seeing actions, that's when we need to start seeing that. So still a lot to happen, still a lot to come from it. But I do think that in a really rough end to the season, I think it's a glimmer of positivity to kind of come from it.
Yeah, it's true. And I think if they had pulled out of it, I think there'd have been. They know that it would have been
even worse for them.
Some serious damage done. But I want to take it back to something that Nocky said, and you both said, starting with you, Nocky. I've got a couple of theories on this. This insistence, this relentless protection of the players that they're trying. Because, listen, I don't claim to be a master tactician, but you can see body language and effort. And sometimes I feel like people are trying to be seen as trying when they're not really trying. And they talked about difficult conditions and motivation. You're an elite level footballer in the 0.0001% of footballers earn a huge amount of money wearing the badge of our football club. One, the manager should be motivating them. Two, really, do they really need it? Should be motivating regardless. We were all out there last night on the pitch. It's incredible. It's like one of the best days of our years doing it. Imagine that was your job. Oh, you've lost, but you've got your 50, 60, 70 grand. Come on, guys. All right. I'm not joking now. Our team last night, yeah, that was trying. All right. There's a lot of anger and giving it everything. Yeah, we get Wolves have battered us about 200-0, but the point is everyone was absolutely giving everything. And Nocky, is there a suggestion, before it take me away from my rant, is there a suggestion that Rob and Jackson are doing this to protect the player value, or is there another reason?
I don't think any manager's going to come out and say they're not trying. Even if they think it behind closed doors, they're never going to come out and say, I don't think this player is trying. It's not the professional thing for a manager to do. That's for us to do as supporters. I'd like them to be a little bit more honest in terms of the quality that we've got and the lack of. But you're never going to get a manager come out and hammer a player. And yeah, there is a degree of we need to sell these players, and we've got to sell as many of them as possible for as much as possible. So if you're firing out in the public eye that this guy doesn't try, you're affecting your own player sales, aren't you? I think he's on a hiding to nothing. If he comes out and hammers the players and says that they don't try, they don't work, they're not putting it in, he's going to be criticised for slagging off his players. If he doesn't criticise his players, we're going to slag him off for not criticising his players. So he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. I think he's been relatively balanced. And then when we had the game, I can't remember which game it was now, but he lost his head a little bit and spoke about them not being good enough. That's fine. I'm comfortable with that. Those are the kind of comments I want to hear. But in that sort of forum, when he sat there in front of Wolves fans, he's not going to come out and say they're not good enough. It's just not the way a manager's going to operate. And we all know they're not good enough. We don't really need him to tell us that. And we know that the majority of these players have probably been negotiating themselves out with this club for the past 4 or 5 months because they knew we were going down. But you still got to run the business. You still got to work for them on a day-to-day basis, and you still got to try and get something out of them going into that game against Fulham and against Burnley. So if your gaffer slags you off and hammers you, you're not going to put it in for him then, are you? So I think he's probably been as balanced as he can, although I have liked him when he's been a little bit more honest around them not being good enough. That's just my opinion on it. I like it when they're honest with us. But there's always going to be a level that they're willing to go to and they're not willing to go to, and they're never going to slag them off in the way that we would as fans.
No, is the reversal on this? Is there something else? Because, great points from Nocky as always, but quite often, Rob, in his press conferences, pre-game, post-game, and now Matt Jackson, they're not being prompted into saying the players aren't trying. They're coming out and saying it themselves. Because, again, I don't know, because if they're not being prompted to say it, why do you need to say it to further antagonise the fan base? Because we can all see, yeah, if you put a lie detector test on all those players, did you give everything today? How many of them would click, yes, I absolutely gave and left it all out there? Because there wouldn't be very many.
No.
So why does it keep happening? Especially when that question didn't go to them about effort. They keep coming out and trying saying, what is the protection? What is your theory on it?
Well, first of all, I'm confused by the noises that are coming out. You know, it kind of seems like mixed messages, because Rob Edwards versus, was it Brighton, when he came out and he said that not good enough, you know, some players don't deserve to be here. And then in the same breath, you've got Matt Jackson saying, "Oh, it's not for a lack of trying." You know, what's going on? Like, it just doesn't feel like it's uniform around what they're kind of trying to put out there, and it's just mixed messages for me. Like, I mean, if they think that Wolves fans are stupid enough to believe, you know, what they're saying when they say, "Oh, it's not for a lack of trying, and it's not for this and that, and the effort's there, and I thought we played good," like Rob said after Sunday.
I'm just sick of that now. I'm just
sick
I
know.
of saying we're playing good.
I know. Then he's got another thing coming, and he's either just deluded in his own self-belief and what he's trying to do, or he's trying to push out another message there that, you know, that he wants to stay and he feels like he can get something out of this. And I'll be honest with you, I'm mixed on, you know, whether I do think, you know, Rob is the guy to take us into, not take us into the Championship. He's already done that. But to kind of get us back out of there. So yeah, it's going to be a weird time. It's going to be a weird summer around that. But I think one of the things that they need to make sure that they're doing is, well, yeah, I think that's a really good comment, actually. You know, gaslighting it does kind of feel like that a little bit, in terms of, you know, what we're hearing and what we are being tried to be forced into believing, I think. But I think, you know, a lot of us are way too old to know that, you know, when we see a turd, we know it's a turd.
That's still Nocky standard. Nocky, what's your phrase?
Don't feed me a dog turd and tell me it's a sausage.
That is absolutely it. And it feels like it's happening every week, because it's just so annoying. And when I saw Rob Edwards saying, "I thought we were good," well, I'm sorry, we weren't good. Do you know what? Why don't you just say, "Do you know what? It was considerably better than Brighton." I would agree. We scored a really good goal. I agree. I'm happy with the step up from last week. I agree. Don't tell us we're good. Good was against Aston Villa. Good was battling against Arsenal for 2-2. Good was scrapping and beating Liverpool. Good's not drawing 1-1 with Fulham again in the dead rubber. And 3. No, I'm going to go off again. But yeah, no, it's go on. Okay.
No, I think it's really interesting, because I was listening to you two talking then, and we spoke about the forum. We spoke more about Rob Edwards than anything else in that forum. And this is my nervousness going into next season, because he's going to be the manager next season. I felt like they kind of, not officially, but it felt like they nailed the colours to the flag. It's going to be Rob Edwards next season. Our focal point now here, talking as a three, is about Rob Edwards. Fans are already going to have their backs up about this guy when we go into next season. And if we make some really good transfers, maybe we all go in a little bit more united. First time we lose a game, we're going to have problems again. And it's very difficult to tell people we need to get on board with Rob Edwards now. We need to come along with it, even though we don't have much of a choice, because instantly everyone's going to be resistant to it. We're going to blame him for everything that goes wrong, whether it's his fault or not. And it's not the united front that we need to show going into next season. But the amount of comments on Twitter relating to Wolves, it's all about Rob. This fans forum, we've had some great points from Nathan, some great points from Matt Jackson, Daz Ale. Our main focus point is Rob Edwards. It's red flags for me all over the place going into next season.
Yeah, just finishing up on that before we talk about the highlight of the show. What does it say, and no disrespect, that the man who knows the least about football, with the least time in football and the least experience in football, is coming away with the most positive from fans? Now, granted, Jeff didn't set a particularly high bar, so yeah, it wasn't hard to beat, but there appears to be, based on face value, a chairman who has way more of a better sense of humour, that can have a laugh. The season tickets are good, no way, and the forum happened. So there's a chairman now. We've got to give him a chance. We can't fully judge him till next season. That he's stood out better than the director of football and the manager. I don't know if I'm happy or I'm sad about that. I don't know if that's. I don't know. It's confusing.
I don't think there's any other way to be about it. You know, I think he's at that point where it's a new relationship. You know, we're still waiting to kind of see exactly how that's going to go and what he's going to kind of deliver in. He's, you know, if we are talking in new relationship terms, then he's the bloke that buys the new Mrs. Flowers a couple of times and some chocolates early on in the relationship. And I kind of feel like he's delivered on those things right now. It is, somebody said earlier on that it's the low-hanging fruit that he's delivered on so far. And I guess that's kind of to the point. I mean, the season tickets, I wouldn't say that that's necessarily the low-hanging fruit. You know, it's a fair chunk that's kind of been chopped off there. Could he have done better? Probably. Did he need to? No. If he's going to deliver on what he said he's going to deliver on, then I think it's a fair price for next season. So I think it's just early days, and I think a lot of people are being a little bit fairer with giving him a little bit of that time to, you know, get his feet under the desk and start delivering on some of these things. But let's be honest, we all know the way that it can go, and we all know that as soon as, you know, one of those mistakes is made, that there's a lot of people that are waiting for this to happen, and it will invoke that fury again if needed. Let's hope that we don't have to go down that route. And, you know, some of the things that he said around us being up there and spending money, go out and get Raul, go out and get Trips, you know, Kieran Trippier, and show some real intent, and show the rest of the league, you know, that we are there to be feared, and that we are there to be, you know, battling to get back up and into the Premier League as quickly as we can.
Absolutely.
I think as well, sorry mate, the thing on Nathan, he felt quite honest. I think that when you've got Rob Edwards, who's probably got a level of media training, it's the same message regurgitated a lot of the time. Nathan felt quite honest when it would have been very easy for him to say, yeah, we'll put the liquidator back on. But he actually identified the fact that there's two sides to the argument when it comes to the liquidator. Whether we agree or disagree, there are two sides to it. So he was quite articulate in the way that he delivered his answers, I think. And he is, and you touched on it there, Nui, he's the fresh face. He's the one that we haven't heard from, we don't know a great deal about, and he's the one who has potential to have a bigger impact than either of the other two next to him, because he's going to make those high-level decisions. And he's one we really wanted to hear from. We hear from Rob all the time, but it's the same message all the time. That's where the frustrations came in. I felt that Nathan came out as the most honest and probably the most interesting of the three in terms of what he had to say. And that was quite important when you compare him to his predecessor.
This is episode 166 of the Wolves Report with Ogol Paxnui, Monday night Molineux manager Nocky, and myself, Ryan Lester. We're going to have to get you managing again, Nocky. That probably clears it up for the forum now. A bit of Wolves positive news, well, a massive Wolves positive news. On Saturday evening at the North Street Social in Wolverhampton, the Old Goal Pack, with a couple of adjoining members, are launching the 150th year shirt anniversary. As you can probably see, I have mine on and Nui has his on. Now, we've got different lights on, so I might have to try and turn the lights off so you can see the different colourage, because we've got very different colour patterns. So I don't know if you can see the stripes better on there. But, Nui, this has been a journey that's been going on. It started off with you guys 18 months ago. The fourth Musketeer joined in November, December. That's me, by the way, D'Artagnan. Like that. I'm not telling you which one you are. But, yeah, it's been a journey that's 18 months old. It went out as an idea, and now it's a reality. Nui.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I've seen lots of samples of this shirt. This is one of the final kind of samples, and this will be the one that everyone will be able to see on Saturday. If they come down to North Street Social, we'll be able to have a feel of it. But, you know, it's still kind of like a pinch me moment, to be completely honest, that I'm wearing it, that Ryan, you've got yours on. A few people, you know, saw it last night when we took it to Molineux as well, and we were really, really happy with it. But it honestly just, it feels like a bit of a dream. But I think that one of the biggest things that I'm proud of is, first of all, that we've actually done it and that we've got it to this point. But the second part of it is, you know, we're proving that we can keep it at a decent price while giving the majority of the money back to charity, to a local charity in Wolverhampton. In Compton Care, who do some incredible work. So yeah, I think proud is the overall kind of statement for this shirt, but it has been a long time in the making.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone knows what goes on behind the scenes. I mean, I'm obviously, when I came to you, I think it was November, December, about an idea for a shirt. Little did I know that you guys had already done it, and we appear to be quite on the same direction now. We have to talk about Alex and Nathan as well, because you're very much organised behind the scenes. I'm a bit of a big mouth. Those guys, the talent though, and I know they're not really going to come straight forward, but the work they've done for this to produce it needs an acknowledgement. But there's a couple of other people that are probably watching the show as well. I think Tony, who's watching, who's helping us produce the kit, and his team. Yeah, and hopefully they'll be there on Saturday. But yeah, this is happening. Go on.
I was just going to say as well, like everybody that's been involved in this are Wolves fans. You know, down to Tony, who's helped to kind of make the dream come alive, to the website designer who are season ticket holders at Wolves, to JJX Logistics and John that's there. I'm sure loads of people on this call know John from JJX, big Wolves fan, and he's going to be helping with the logistics and the fulfillment. You got Russ at Cucumber, big Wolves fan, season ticket. A lot of people will know Russ and Ben, who have helped us with some of the PR. North Street, obviously, being big Wolves fans. The Last Pioneers are Wolves fans. You know, we've really wanted to keep it as local as we can, and to make sure that, you know, when we say that this is by the fans, for the fans, that it 100% is. And I couldn't be prouder of the actual shirt itself, and, you know, where we're at. And I know that people are going to love it. I know people are going to love the color of it. It's hard to tell between the different colors between Ryan's screen and here. I think mine's probably more of a closer representation to the actual kind of gold that's on it. Although I don't know how it's coming across on other people's screens, but it's beautiful, guys.
I'm so proud to have played my part in the project. I'd like to acclaim. I did any of the artwork on it, but the technical guys have done an incredible job.
Just to give Alex and Nathan, sorry to interrupt you, just to give Alex and Nathan a little bit of the glory in all of this as well. None of this would have been possible without Alex and Nathan. No. If it was left to me and Ryan, we'd have been drawing it in Microsoft Paint.
And crayons,
trying to get it printed. But it's beautiful, and I think it definitely will do justice. I love the new badge that we've kind of come up with, and that, you know, how we've kind of kept it as close as we can to the town crest. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that, having seen it as well. What I would urge you to do, you know, it's at a decent price point. It's at £48.50 plus postage and packing. 60% of the profits will be going to Compton Care. So we're not even keeping the majority of the profits for this as well. We want to make sure that we're looking after both the fans who want to be able to see the shirt. That was interesting.
I didn't read all of that message.
But yeah, if you can get down on Saturday night, then that'd be great. There's no tickets required. You can just show up on the door. There'll be a raffle where you can win one of 5 shirts. There'll be all of our other merch, stickers, flags that'll be available to purchase as well. We'll have music from the Last Pioneers. You'll be able to pre-order online, and then we'll be able to get them into your hands, hopefully, kind of late July, early August. But yeah, get down, see it. If you've got any questions, feel free to message us on our socials. We're generally looking at them a lot of the time to get feedback. But the overall feedback on this has been incredible, and I'm so proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, me too. Nocky, you got a glimpse last night. Your take, no pressure.
I think you're understating just what an achievement this is, to create a shirt of this quality that's better than probably anything the club have produced for a very long time. I saw it yesterday, and I've had no involvement in this, so I haven't got a horse in the race, but I saw it yesterday and I thought it was fantastic. The stitching in the back with, you know, I won't spoil it for everyone, but the stitching in the back is incredible. Some of the little touches that you've put on this shirt, it takes you right back. It takes me back to when I started watching the club, and I think it's an outstanding shirt. I'd love to see the first team playing in this next season, because it would be absolutely fantastic. It's got such a history attached to it, and it's a great achievement that you've done. And the fact that you're going to support charities through this as well, I think credit to everybody involved, because this is an absolutely sensational piece of work.
That's very kind. That's very kind. I hope everyone likes it as well, and I'm sure they will. So, before I take you through a few more pictures that I put on that might give a more realistic tone between somewhere in the middle and me and Nui's, Saturday night, 23rd, this Saturday coming, North Street Social. I will be talking, but not as much as now, because I want to get a bit of. We've got the last Pioneers playing. They're going to be great. We're going to be hopefully giving a few shirts away to people. We can pre-order on the night there. If that's right, Nui. And
yeah.
What's going to be the best way to do that on the evening?
So we're going to have QR codes on posters and all around the venue for them to be able to do that. The easiest way, just because we don't want to, we could take your orders, but firstly, it's going to cause a huge queue, hopefully, with the amount of people that are going to be there. It's going to be easier for you to pop your details in via the QR code, put your address details in, and then get it all sorted and paid for that way. There'll be lots of other stuff that you can get involved with and pay for on the night, like the raffle tickets and the other merch, if you do want to give a little bit more to charity as well. But yeah, that'll be the easiest way. But if people can't make the night as well, you will still be able to order it online. So pre-orders will go live at the same time as the event starts, 23rd of May, 7 p.m. However, for anybody that subscribes to Old Gold Pack, whether you are a subscriber from years ago or you are just one that wants to subscribe and join now, for £5 a month, you actually get 24 hours early access to pre-order the shirt from Friday at 7 p.m. So if you would like to do that and you would like to get your hands on one and get your order in, there is that option that's available to you as well. Yeah,
looking forward to it. We are expecting a decent amount of people on Saturday evening. If you're thinking about coming, it'd be great to meet you, some of you guys. If you want to be involved in the evening, Last Pioneers are going to be great, giving some shirts away, and you can pre-order your shirt as well. So yeah, I've been so proud to be part of this project. I've got more grey hair because of it. I'm sure Nui's been chill throughout, and the design guys have been awesome. So yeah, let's just take a few more look at these shots before we go. Tweak on the badge or our own take on it. Yeah, we're really, really happy with that. And I don't think that picture gives it justice
I think just one of the other things as well to obviously mention, and if anybody wants to ask me on the night what the 4 icons that are there, I'm more than happy to kind of go through that in a little bit more detail. But there is obviously some real key history that's behind that, and I'm very proud to have them on there. The nicest touch, I think, for me is the 150 that's been added right at the bottom of the cross. Just, you know, some like these nice little touches that just give us the reasons to why. And then something that's so important. I mean, I've got the actual town crest on my arm. It means something so much to me, but that saying "out of darkness cometh light" just means so much to the people from Wolverhampton that it was so important that we kept that on there.
Absolutely, yeah. And you could probably see that for those that I'm not aware of the town crest, I'm guessing most of you are, but if you see around various bollards around Wolverhampton, particularly around the Molyneux, you'll see the colour version of this, but this is our own take on it. So this is one of the I mean, that's probably close to the colour, isn't it? No, yeah. Somewhere in between ours.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a proper old gold kind of colour. Or it's from speaking to as many fans as we could around, you know, what they believed kind of old gold is. This is, I feel like we've really kind of hit the nail on where we are with it. It reminds me very much of, you know, some of those real kind of classic kits from the 80s, the early 80s. So yeah, I'm really, really proud of it.
Yeah, and I know it sounds ridiculous with all the work that's gone in. Like, I showed my mum this kit this morning, that the matte and the shine stripe on it, taking me back, Nocky, to the Steve Bull days of that. I can't remember the sponsor of that kit, but the shine on that middle stripe is just so good. I mean, yeah, I probably shouldn't have been wearing it last night after playing football, but I just could not help myself. But yeah, delighted to show everybody on Saturday. Really looking forward to that. Hopefully see you guys, as many of you guys down there.
Can I ask just one more question on that shirt?
Let's put it up while you're asking then. Go for it.
size-wise, because my lad's going to love that, but he's only 11. What sort of size range are you going to?
Yeah, so they're going to be available from extra small all the way through to 2XL, so double XL. What I would say with the shirts is they are a very kind of retro fit, if that makes sense to anybody. It's styled on the kind of retro kind of 80s kit, if you like. So it is a little bit slimmer and it is a little bit snugger in places, but it's a really kind of nice fit. What we are saying to people is, if you are interested in having, a little bit of a baggier fit, or you were in between sizes, it's probably best for you to kind of size up. But there is a size guide that's available on our website that kind of gives a really good indication of exactly what they are. I'm normally a medium. I've probably got a little bit more puppy fat than I should have. Dad bod has definitely taken over. I'm normally a medium, but a large fits me perfectly in kind of what I could get into a medium, but I won't save that. I'll save that for the bedroom, maybe.
Yeah, well, we saw you in that medium, and in fairness, it fitted you fine.
Yeah.
It? So a medium fitted you fine. So
yeah.
There's probably, we have to be honest, it's probably not going to fit smaller children, but in terms of, like you said, 10 plus, I think the extra small will probably work, won't it? No way.
Yeah, I'd say that the extra small. I mean, I got a small out for my 6-year-old earlier on, and obviously absolutely drowned him. But I do think that an extra small for kids that are probably 10 and upwards isn't going to be too far away. Plus, it's got a little bit of time to grow into it. This is going to be a kit to keep for years anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely have a look at the size guide. The other thing that we're recommending is, if you have got any of your kind of favorite shirts, or ones that you feel like fit really, really well, judge it and kind of base it on the size guide that we've got on there. It's really, really detailed. Probably one of the most detailed size guides I've seen. Not that I'm massively into fashion, but have a look at it and kind of judge it that way. But if you have got any questions, feel free to ask us on our socials. Feel free to ask us on Saturday night. There'll be a handful of us that will be wearing them on the night as well. So if you do see somebody that's wearing one, feel free to ask them about the fit. Feel free to ask them, how it kind of feels and things like that. And we'll have plenty of them on hangers for you to feel and touch and see for sizes as well. The only other thing that I would say is, please be patient with us on this as well. We're not a huge organization. We are 4 volunteers, 4 blokes that have had to go through some things that we never even thought Old Gold Pack would have to go through to be able to do this. So we're happy to obviously take your orders. We're happy to take any questions, and we will help. We will help to get that to get any answers, any questions answered. Sorry, that question put me off. You do not want me modelling this. I can assure you that.
I've seen it. I liked it.
There will be better models than me, and some better models in it on Saturday night, which we'll get some pictures of and put up. But yeah, just to go on that point again, please just be patient with us. We want to do the best that we can. We will get them out as quickly as we can. And hopefully we'll have a really good story to tell, and you'll all have a decent kit to start next season with.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Great question, Nocky. Thank you for bringing that up. One other bit of news before we move on to some questions. I think it's only right to say this. Last night at Molineux, many of the Wolves Report 7-a-side team took part in the D-Bet Fans 11, the D-Bet team. What an evening. I've got to give a special shout out to Nick Goff, who was the contact that put this together. We are, really, really grateful. Tom, who was our director of football, that put the squad together. I managed for a bit. Nocky managed for a bit. What a great evening. Knew he realised he could sprint again. I was not expecting to overtake a winger. I don't know what happens. But if you want to look at a stressful man for no reason whatsoever, look at the state. I wasn't that great before, was I? But yeah, what an evening it was, gents. Nocky stepped in as manager when I waddled round for the last half an hour, and knew he came on at fullback. And honestly, what an evening. What are my highlights of the year? Hopefully we'll only be better by Saturday when we do our shirt launch. So yeah, thanks to D-Bet, and a massive thank you to the staff on the ground at Wolves making things happen for us. They couldn't help us anymore. So yeah, a really, really good evening. Thanks to Devet, Goffey, and all the staff at Wolves. Much appreciated. Shall we do some questions now? We've gone all romantic. Richard says, how concerned are you that we are stuck with some of these players? Who will buy them? In best case, loan with hope of buy at the end. Now, Nocky, this is a concern for me because I'm not concerned about who we'll keep. I'm more concerned about who we can't get rid of. Nocky.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know the ones that are going to go. Gomez and Andre should go relatively quickly. But I think it's the players like Tolu, who we spent big money on. You're not going to get anywhere near that, are you? So you're probably going to end up loaning him out with, I don't even think you get an obligation. I think they'll be loaning him out with a view to a move or an option. So yeah, we probably are going to be stuck with some of these. They're all going to take a bit of a pay cut, aren't they? But they're still going to be on big money for Championship players. But I think you might just be surprised at some of the interest we do get. I mean, there's talk of, I think, Brentford and Fulham looking at Wang. I know Jackson's got a couple of clubs looking at him. So we will offload the majority of these players. And Santi Bueno's going to go. I think Mosquera will go. But it's the players like Tolo, I think we're going to struggle to offload. But we're going to have to get the business done, aren't we? My nervousness isn't getting rid of them. It's how quickly we can get rid of them. Because we've said this before. You don't want to go into pre-season and Tolu's warming up with you and Santi Bueno's lining up with you, or maybe even Hugo if he's going to go. We need the business done as quick as we possibly can so that we give whoever the manager is, and I think it'll be Rob, we give him the best possible opportunity to gel the squad and hit the ground running, which is so vital to do in the Championship. So getting rid of the players for me isn't too much of a worry, although there could be a few that knock around for a little bit longer than we'd like. The important thing for me is getting the business done as quick as we can.
Yeah, this could be a problem, couldn't it, Nui? I mean, every year we hear the same story. We want the squad in place for pre-season, but with the World Cup, are we going to have to cut them some slack? Because that could be almost impossible.
I mean, it's going to be more difficult, isn't it? Because historically, whenever there is a tournament, things slow down in the transfer market. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't think that we're going to be stuck with some of the players, though, to be completely honest. I think the ones that want their moves will get their moves. I think the ones that want out have probably already started those conversations, if not already decided on, where they're going to be wanting to go. There'll be a lot of clubs out there that will have wanted to get this done before the World Cup as well. So, and if you base it on, what Rob and the guys have been saying, a lot of those conversations already started in January. So yeah, I think
would hope so.
Yeah, I think a lot of the players that we don't want here and that they don't want to be here either will already be sorted. So I'm not concerned that we'll be stuck with some of them. There will be suitors for, I would say, the majority of them, even Huang.
Yeah, well, as Nocky's been saying for a while, I don't have a connection with any of them. And no. If there was a complete clean sweep with everything come the first game in August, I wouldn't care. There's some players who I respect and I wish them well. Joe Gomez is probably one of them. Don't mind Jose Sarr. Mane will probably go on. He's done nothing wrong. There's very few I've got any kind of connection with whatsoever. But Richard, thank you for your question and being part of the latest Wolves report. Nocky and Nui on overtime already. That is not going to go well for my summer budget at all. Here comes the question. West Ham sack Nuno next week. We taking him back. Could he ever work? I'd take him back all day long. Nui.
I would love him back. However,
look at everyone smiling. There's literally, I'll ask that question. I mean, that's Nocky's best smile there.
However, I think that he was burnt by either Jeff or Fosun, if not both, if not one or the other. So I don't think that he would come back. Again, it's that dream, it's that sentiment, it's the heart that's kind of telling you that we'd want him back. It's always going to be a difficult thing for me. Would I have him back? Yeah, absolutely. Like I think it would be it would be incredible. He felt like the manager that we'd been crying out for absolutely years. But then, when it was his time to go, it was his time to go. It started kind of getting to that point where it was turning a little bit. I don't know is the honest answer, I guess, to whether he would come back and whether it would work. My heart says yes. My mind's kind of going, I'm not sure that it would be the best thing, but who knows? I think there'd have to be a lot decided. Maybe now that Jeff isn't there, that might be a conversation that Nuno would be open to having. I feel like I'm waffling. I don't know.
Nocky, I mean, we talk about romance a lot on this show, not in the ways that you would think, maybe in the ways you think, who knows? But again, Raul, Nuno, imagine making them noises early on in pre-season, July the 1st. The lift.
What are the noises, Ryan?
Oh, because of the noises. But imagine the lift to the fan base. That's, again, I don't want to be over disrespectful to Rob, because on the Rob situation, just quickly, I think there needs to be some real clarity come the end of the season. Wolves need to decide. And if they do, they need to put out a statement. Rob's our guy next season. I want everyone to get behind him. It's a fresh start for him. We're fully backing him. We're going to have a great summer. That kind of statement to add some real clarity and foundation to go, right, that's the guy now. We're going to have to back him because we want him to do well. Or if not, make a decision quickly. We can't be messing around and making a ridiculous decision if he's had a poor start earlier on. That just can't happen. You're either fully behind him, or if you're not, let's go for somebody else. Nuno, Nocky.
I mean, well, if we brought back Nuno and Jimenez, we'd bring back two of the best songs that we've had in modern times at Wolves, haven't we? I love Nuno. He's given me the best memories of my time supporting the club with, seeing my team play in Europe, which I never thought I'd ever do, winning the Championship the way we did, those 2 seasons where we finished 7th and the FA Cup semi-final, European quarter-final, just unbelievable memories with him. Would I take him back? Yeah, of course I would. But I don't think for a second it will happen. I expect Rob Edwards to lead us into next season. What happens after the first 7 or 8 games is a different story. But I think that Rob leads us there. And I think probably from Nuno's perspective, this may be him done with English football for a while. I can see him going back abroad and cutting his teeth again back in maybe Spain or Portugal or America, somewhere like that. So I don't see any way it will happen, although I do think West Ham will sack him at the end of the season. I don't expect him to come back to Wolves. I'm 90% sure it'll be Rob Edwards going into the next season.
Yeah, my understanding is that there's an agreement that if West Ham do go down, Nuno leaves. I don't think it's a matter of being sacked. I think if he's a Premier League manager, he's got another year or 2 on his contract. If they get relegated, I believe they part company, and that was part of the deal. There's a bit of me that thinks Nuno would want to come back, and he's been to a few clubs. It's not quite worked out. Nuno's never been as loved anywhere as he was at Wolves. Raul's never been loved as much as he was at Wolves. It might not work, but there's no guarantees in football. And if there's some open goals, you've got to take them. If them guys want to come, January 1st, incredible. But equally, if not, all right, and the Wolves come out and make the statement, I'll back Rob Edwards because we have to. Because whether you like Rob or not, or whether you think he's good or not, your desire to get Wolves promoted has got to be more than wanting Rob Edwards to fail, because you just got to back him. And I know he's really splitting fans. I'm not sure. And if you had to make a choice between Rob Edwards and Nuno, I think it'd be a pretty easy one. But if he is here, I think it's important that we all back him. But let's see what happens after Burnley, and let's see how we go from there. One more question, guys. Should we do that before we go? Is that okay? Yeah. This is a really, really easy one. We'll do some end of season ones next week, even though some of them questions. Here we go. And I'm glad it's almost over. Okay.
It's the first time I can ever remember us having a 480 game season. I think it's just gone on and on and on. So yeah, I've never been more delighted to wave the Premier League season goodbye.
Nui,
the last few games, whenever the stoppage time board has gone up at 90 minutes, I'm praying that it's 1 or 2 minutes. It just feels like it's prolonging the agony. So I cannot wait for this season to be over.
Yeah,
You're bored as well, aren't you? You're
It's
sat in the
boring.
ground bored and
it is.
watching your team playing, and I'm sat in there. I'm just bored. I've had enough.
Again,
So I've never felt that before watching Wolves.
We've talked about this before. This is where, for me, particularly since we've been relegated, I think Rob's had a couple of open goals he's not tapped in. And I've said it multiple times. Lose 4-2, lose 5-3. I don't care. I'm coming to be entertained. I'd rather see my team go and have a go. And if you've had 4 or 5 going, so what? But you've had a go at least then. And if you paired that with being totally honest from the start, I think Rob would have a lot more credit than he does now, because I think his credit since that big break has dropped massively. He grew with it, the Arsenal point, the Villa win, the Liverpool win, it went up. Since we've returned, I'd say we've been comfortably as bad as when Vitor left. We look idealist, but I'd say actually we're more boring than when, at least under Vitor, we were losing, but we were creating chances. Now it's boring. But anyway, I'm going to go on to another rant. Ignat, thank you for being part of the Wolves Report. We are almost at the end of the show. This is the penultimate episode of the season. We'll be doing some stuff over the summer, which I will announce shortly. Next week, Wolverhampton Wanderers on Sunday after the 150 kit launch. Can't get in the way of that. Are travelling to Turf Moor for the Battle of the Bottom. Just made that up. It sounds good, doesn't it? I mean, don't Google that, whatever you do. So hashtag the Battle of the Bottom. That's what I should have called this episode. But yeah, belter. It's almost time for the bongos. If I can go over there. I don't care who plays. I don't care who starts. I don't care what formation it is. I never want Wolves to lose. I'm not going to be upset if Wolves lose. But equally, I like my team to spend money, and £3 million extra would help next season. But I'm not confident that Wolves could beat anybody, because I'm sure Burnley will be thinking, we've only got to draw with Wolves next extra £3 million. You boys on the same page as me? Should we go straight to predictions? No one really cares what the team is.
Couldn't care less who plays.
Yeah.
Right then, Nocky, have some of this.
Final Premier League bongos. 3-1 Wolves, and I'm going to go for Adam Armstrong with a brace. It's the last chance, isn't it? Finish on a high foot.
We don't want to be the positive one,
but we don't want to be the only team in Premier League history to not win away from home twice in a whole season. And that's not a record we want.
It's happening.
3-0 Burnley.
Totally own goal.
Yeah. Totally own
Stick
goal.
your shirt with them kind of predictions.
Yeah.
There's no need for that. Right then. What did you do, Nocky? 3-1.
You're in a quandary now, aren't you? Because you don't want to be less positive than me. But you can't go. Wolves aren't scoring 4.
Got 3 goals in them. You've done that on put. You've managed Wolves last night, and it's gone to your head. I don't know what's happened to you. I'm going to go 1-1, an absolute stinker.
You two are just grace.
We'll go Armstrong. Who cares? This has been episode 166 of the Wolves Report. Gentlemen, thank you for giving up your Monday evenings. We'll be back again for the final episode of the Wolves Report next Monday or Tuesday. Hopefully I'll see you on Saturday. If not, we'll see you on next week's show. Up the Wolves.